Cuss Corner, it's Cuss Corner. Cuss Corner, it's Cuss Corner. He's got the hottest takes with the highest stakes. He should be president of the United States, but it's Cuss Corner, it's Cuss Corner. Cuss Corner, hee 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 hee.
That's not what people call it. People are fired up for another Top Cat corner. It's been a while. People have been asking, where's Top Cat at? Where are his takes? Like, oh, I'm writing them down. I'm getting ready for the people. And this is an opportunity to spread them abroad.
Where's Poochie? How many people do you think have actually asked you?
I get the tweets all the time about it.
What's all the time?
I don't know, semi-frequently. I don't know. I don't keep a running tally of them, but it happens quite a bit. Like, hey, Top Cat, when's the next corner? Hey, Top Cat, when did you come out with some more takes? And I'm like, listen, I know. I'm saving them up. Don't worry.
If we had to put an over-under on people since let's say the last month that have called Tim Top Cat on Twitter, what would you set the over-under at, Garion?
Are we counting his burner accounts?
No, we will not count his burner accounts.
I would set the over-under at 1.5. And I would still take the under.
So, Tim, what do you think it is?
It's dozens. And I don't retweet everyone who does it, but I have been retweeting a lot of people who have been doing it.
How many of them are said to you in a very mocking
fashion? I was going
to
say, sarcastic? Does that
Well,
count?
I can't read the tone. I just, assume people are saying things positively. The internet is not for its negativity.
Yeah, see, it's people like when egregious takes happen, it's like, care to weigh in, Top Cat. So we got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 people have called him Top Cat in the last month. Most of them are pretty mocking.
Yeah, I really should have factored that in. That's on me.
Yeah. So what did Tim say? Like 300 or something?
Dozens upon dozens.
So
I believe
it was not dozens upon dozens. It was 10. So Tim living his truth once again. Who cares about real numbers? But this show is all about Tim and the stuff that he wants to talk about. It's been a while, like you mentioned, since we've actually done a Cuss Corner. So Tim has a long list of grievances that he has with people in certain things. So Tim, number one on your list that you want to talk about, what is it?
Several weeks ago, there was this grid that came out on Twitter, and I expressed an opinion about it, about the proper way to toast your bread.
Oh, God.
And I took such heat for this, and I just want to say those people are out of their minds. My take is 100% correct. I mean, you want your toast well and thoroughly toasted. You know, I don't know these people who want just like wilted bread that barely has any grill marks on it. You want it so it's almost black, because if it isn't, then it isn't strong enough to hold all the various condiments and spreads I intend to put on my toast. So I expressed a very reasonable opinion. There's a grid. I picked a number, and I just took absolute heat for it. And I have no idea as to why. I mean, it's in there as an option because there are many of us who like their toast well cooked. It's the same with, there was a bacon grid a couple of days later, and I like my bacon almost burned black for that exact reason. I want it firm and strong. And, that way it holds condiments well, if that's what you want. I just don't understand these people who want like floppy bacon and toast that might as well be called bread.
See, crisp bacon is one thing. Crisp bacon is fantastic. I think everyone's kind of on board with crisp bacon. But I would rather lean towards less crispy than over crispy. Because I don't like to take a bite of bacon and like just shatters into 100 pieces. Like, that's ridiculous. That's how you're talking about your bacon and the toast.
I like it like that. It's like French fries. I like them double fried.
Okay, but double fried is different than frying to the point where you can't even taste the potato anymore.
I almost want to be able to see through them.
It'd be like biting into a French fry and it like explodes like glass.
Why don't you just eat a bag of potato chips? That's basically what you're asking for.
No, but I think that these positions are one that there are tons of us who like well cooked stuff.
Stop referring to this crowd of people that you see around you. You have no evidence
for a reason.
Yeah, so is chaotic bad. Like, you have to give the end of the spectrum.
And I wasn't even close to the end of the toast spectrum, for example. Not even close.
I mean, I'm trying to find this.
I can't remember how many letters and how many numbers there were, but I feel
like I think it went to J and it went to 10.
Okay.
So toast pitcher, is that what I'm typing in here?
What would toast battleship grid? I don't know.
What would I be looking up here?
Toast spectrum.
Toast Spectrum's pretty good. It's got a lot of cinnamon toast crunch that people are tweeting about at the moment. I just remember the one that you picked was like aggressively burnt toast.
Yeah.
It's like you wanted to make sure that you weren't having an aneurysm, so you had to have burnt toast at all times. Here's a quick, is it an aneurysm you smell when you get burnt toast? Or seizure? Remember
Yeah, I believe it was a seizure.
I think it's a seizure.
the Canadian Heritage Minute?
Yeah, oh,
I
yeah.
smell burnt toast.
That one was the weirdest one
That was odd.
by far.
So Tim just has that feeling at all times.
I guess.
Like,
No, like I think everyone's on board with you want your toast browned. You want it to be firm, but there's a large spectrum of toast between that and I like it blackened.
yeah, why would I want my
Cajun
toast black?
toast.
Why would I want my toast overcooked? This is back to you when you said like well done is how you eat steak.
That's not a good
Like
call.
it's just very clear from all of this that you have no taste
Yeah,
buds.
or that you just can't cook and you've accepted these things because you never learned how to cook and you overcook everything and you're just like, yeah, this is what I like because I've been eating it this way for 15 years.
On that point, Tim, what was that thing?
Can Tim tell time?
Tim can probably tell time.
Okay.
He has a digital clock.
Right. Okay.
He has a Timex. It has indigo feature too. He loves that in the dark. Thinks it's pretty cool. But what was that thing you were gonna make, Tim? The Alaskan what?
Called Baked Alaska.
All right, can you walk us through what you did to make that the last time?
So I had never made Baked Alaska, but essentially Baked Alaska is cake, ice cream, and then covered in like a meringue that gets like torched. So it was like singed. So I had never made any of those component parts before, let alone but I decided I was going to try to make it. And so I made the cake first and I put it in one of those spring pans because that would be easier to get it out. And I tried to cut it as soon as it came out of the oven because I figured the hotter it was, the easier it'd be to slice through. But the problem is it cut into two, like it didn't hold its shape well enough. So then I threw it in the freezer to try to salvage what I could, pulled it out. And then the ice cream, I bought some in Canada. There's this stuff called Chapman's ice cream that comes in bricks. I thought that would be the most effective way to like slice the ice cream into pieces. And so I bought the bricks and I sliced it into slices and then jammed it all together so that it looked like a cake. But I didn't really care because I was going to cover it in a cream anyway. But I didn't know how to make meringue, so I tried to use Cool Whip instead. And then I didn't also have one of these pastry torches, so I tried to use a barbecue lighter to singe the cream, and all that did was melt the cream. And anyway, it turned into an absolute debacle.
The way that you described it to us is that you made, what was it, baked Alaskan soup.
It was like a trifle at the end. It was just a smash up of vanilla cake and vanilla ice cream and some Cool Whip.
Now
I was not proud of it.
As you probably shouldn't be, but you said you're going to attempt to make this again, yet it's never come to fruition.
Well, no, because I need one of those pastry torches, and I haven't got one.
Why don't you just go buy one?
I don't want to buy one, because who knows next time I'm going to use it, and I just don't want to buy one if I'm not going to use it for a while.
I'll agree with Tim on this one. That seems like a frivolous expense.
Tim's Richie rich these days.
Oh, it's true. He works for the government.
Yeah, he's super rich. He's not spending his money on anything. He wants Game of Thrones to spend their money on their budget, but Tim wants to hoard all of his money. He's talking a big game about making this thing, and you need to have the torch to do it. Go and buy the torch. What is it, like $20?
I honestly don't know what it costs.
Oh, you got to at least look into it.
I found the toast grid, by the way.
Yeah.
So did I. It's funnily enough, I found the same thing.
All right, so I think reasonable people are looking at like 4E. 5E is pretty good. So where are you on this spectrum?
You should probably put this in like the show notes so that people can see this.
I'm just going to put up the graphic, Tim. Thank you. I don't know how to produce my own show.
Wow.
I mean, it is Top Cat Corner. It is his show.
Yeah, this is all just occurring to him now.
Yeah. Well, the rundown's in his head. It's okay.
I believe I chose 8G.
8G. All right, let's see this here. Oh my God, 8G? Like,
yeah, so not completely black. You still have brown around the edges.
Look at this nonsense. 8G.
Oh, that's ridiculous.
That's like, I don't know how to use the settings on my toaster, and it just got left
No,
in.
Yeah, that's like when you put the first,
times.
you know, when you're doing like multiple sets, maybe you're like cooking breakfast for a bunch of people, and you kind of forget that the first two slices of toast aren't going to be as well done as the next two because the toaster's got to heat up first.
Mm-hmm.
That's like when you keep it on the max setting and you get the ones you like the first time, and then this next time you're like, I forgot it was already hot.
That looks like something that would set off a smoke detector.
Oh, 100%.
No, that's not nearly as bad as many of the others.
Yeah,
you mean the ones that are like completely inedible because they would just be as hard as a rock?
Yeah,
I like harder bread.
We're at like 4 or 5 E to G range is where you really want to be.
Yeah, I feel like that's you said that people really spoke out against this, right, Tim?
Oh yeah, people went nuts about me talking about that, but because apparently they like plain bread as toast. I mean, the more toasted it is, the more robust it is when it holds the marmalade and the peanut butter and all the other stuff I want to put on my toast.
Like, I don't even know how you could eat that.
Easily.
Like no, it would not be easy. I can tell you that by the way,
Plus, it has a
by the amount that
stronger
this is
flavor.
burned, you cannot eat that easily.
It has a stronger flavor too. It is the way to go.
Yeah.
It tastes like burning. Like burnt has one taste, and that's it.
It's a strong taste. You're right in that aspect.
That's just horrible.
Yeah, it's not good.
I worry about your taste buds if this is.
Well,
what you're
I
doing.
like it, and I wasn't. And by the way, I didn't try to say that like it's the way that everyone else should like it. I just said
you
I
said,
think
said
a
that
majority of people.
no.
eat
I
the
said
same-
many people.
Okay, fine.
You said
Many
you took
people like
a lot of heat, and those people are crazy.
Well, no, they're crazy for giving me heat about it. Okay, they don't like it that way. That's fine. They don't have to. I don't know why they needed to feel like they had to take a whack at me just because I like my toast more well done.
That's what this show is.
And
It's like having. I mean,
And
It's
if you're gonna
it's
throw
like
it,
getting
put it this way,
the
if you're
vegetable well
going to
done.
throw that out on Twitter that this is the type of toast that you like, the preferred method of toast that you would like to consume any time of day, the morning, the evening, whenever you want some marmalade and toast in your Tim, people are going to question that because it just, I mean, yes, you're an insane person, but what if people don't know that? Then they have real questions, and I think that's where we come in.
I did not expect the reaction that I got. Put it that way. I expected it just sort of people would shrug and say, "Oh, well, I prefer this," or "You're on the mark about that, Top Cat," or something.
Yeah, that's so you were expecting it to go just as every single other Twitter thing you retweet goes. You thought it'd be real neutral reaction where no
Well,
one
I
really
didn't
picks a
think I'd
side.
taken a straw. Like if I had said something like 9J or IJ, okay, fine, then that would have been.
It's all black. They all look
Yeah,
burnt.
they all look about the same.
well to the uninitiated. But if you've got a subtle ability to appreciate that it's more well done in the center and that it's rarer on the outside and that it's again as someone who has
I'm sorry,
like
did you get high res individual photos of each one of these slices of toast? They all look the same.
well that's but see someone like me who has a really well developed palate can tell the difference and therefore
Did
has
you
a
lick your
particular-
phone screen? What are you talking about?
we've all had toast in many different ways and I can just tell by looking at it what they're going to taste like.
It's just really sad.
Yeah.
Like you realize that if you did have a developed palate, the more undercooked, generally speaking, things are, the more flavorful that they would be.
Sometimes.
Or
sometimes-
or your palate would
a
appreciate
strong majority of the time.
or it would just appreciate the subtleties of flavor and then you wouldn't need everything overcooked for the strongness of the burnt flavor.
Well, I disagree.
All right.
Okay.
So that was horrible. Next, what would you got next?
What's the next thing I have? Well, we'll take a deviation away from food for a moment because this is something that happened weeks ago, but I still haven't had a chance to talk about it, and it really bothered me. Was many months ago when that Fortnite had that concert
Oh yeah.
that allegedly over 1 million people, quote unquote, attended on the Fortnite game, but like no one actually attended anything. They didn't leave their basement. They didn't go to some park to see a concert. No one went to it. It was just music that was being quote unquote played on a video game system. And like that's not a party. That's not going out to anything. And like people were talking about, oh, millions attended this Fortnite concert. No, nobody attended anything. That was all craziness.
I can get behind the semantics of this take.
I
that
just,
you've spent any time thinking about it is maybe clinically insane, but sure, from a semantic point of view, you are correct. No one physically attended that concert.
Okay, well, I just wanted to get that on the record that people do not, and that is becoming a cultural phenomenon. That people think they're going or doing things when they're not actually going or doing anything.
well, they are doing something. They've actively logged in to go hang at this concert with all their friends.
Yeah, I mean,
They aren't hanging with anybody.
but
There, this is
They're
how
home.
Tim. This is how people hang out these days. It's all online. This is how they're doing it. I mean, you're
No,
just at home
no,
by
no, no,
yourself
no.
doing nothing. And
No,
you can at least
they're-
engage with people.
No, there's a small sliver of people who are very online and plugged into that, but most people are not like that.
Yeah, but the
Those are-
millions of people that attended this Fortnite concert seem to be
They
some of these
didn't
people.
attend anything.
so
They
wait,
just
so
on a
once,
video game system.
to back up, as we always seem to do at least once an episode here on Top Cat Corner. Let's go back in time and rehash an old take and see how it lines up with this take. So right now, your problem is that people stayed at home to attend a concert, yet they still heard music and still got to interact with their friends. So essentially, they got a night out, but they got to stay in from the comfort of their own home and experience all of that. But once again, you hate board game restaurants because you'd rather stay home, experience the same thing that you could do going out, and not spend the money. So these people have now taken the concert going experience and made it staying home and not going to a board game restaurant, and you are now anti that sentiment.
Not quite. I'll say why I think that's slightly off the mark is that I said about the board games that I thought it's a good idea to go over to friends' houses and stuff like that, just not to be in the showiness of some bar where you can get some boozy drink and pretend like you're a big man playing Stratego in front of a bunch of people. Like so that's slightly different than the position I'm taking here, which is that these people didn't attend anything. There's no social capital being built here. There's this is that whole bowling alone stuff. Like there's nothing. There's something sad about it.
Did you say bowling alone?
Yeah, it's like there's a famous book by a guy named Putnam who talked about social capital and that nobody bowls alone, but we're seeing this develop.
I've actually gone bowling by myself before.
How's that?
I just want to get better at bowling.
I guess,
feel like the more I'm not like Daniel Day-Lewis at the end of There Will Be Blood. I just have a bowling alley.
I guess it's no different than if you went to like the batting cage
or the driving range by yourself.
That's true.
Hey,
It's just
got a couple hours to kill.
I guess bowling is just viewed as a more social. It's like
Sure,
I
would prefer to go bowling. It's like going to the movies by yourself. I go to the movies by
I
myself.
think it's a little different though.
Is it?
I feel like
Why
there's
is
more
it
of
different?
there's more of a social aspect to bowling in a group. Like you can talk as you bowl. If you're going to see a movie, once the movie starts.
Sure, but I was only there for the purposes of getting.
Yeah,
better
no,
at
that's
bowling.
fine. I just think there's
don't
more
need you
social
yammering in my ear.
opportunities during bowling. That's true.
So there we go. But I don't know. I don't see what the big problem is.
No, I think
It's
fine.
not that it's a problem.
You seem to be rather triggered about it.
No, I'm not. I'm just annoyed by people using language such as attend and participate and hang out when none of those words are applicable to that situation. And it's sort of scary that like we start to think about our
scary,
lives.
is it? So how about this? How about every Sunday when I lived here and you lived in a different place, you used to Skype in with all of our friends from around the country and even some people overseas, and we'd watch football Sunday together. I would consider that hanging out.
We certainly didn't attend anything or go anywhere. We weren't doing anything.
We were watching the
football,
games and we were talking. We were hanging out.
I would consider us hanging out right now.
Yeah, this is what we're doing. We're hanging.
You two are hanging out. I'm calling in.
No, this is the only time I get to see you.
Go somewhere and come into a studio and participate in this. I haven't had to leave my room.
So you would
Like,
say, despite the
same
fact
thing?
that I've known
It's
you
not
for
right.
like 7 years, under these qualifications, we've hung out like 3 times.
In a technical sense, yes, we've had
I'm
many
hurt.
conversations.
Tim doesn't value your
I'm
friendship.
hurt.
You're a fake online
We've
friend.
had many conversations, but it seems
Oh.
like all the participants have to like put in the same type of effort in terms of mobility and going somewhere. And like, I haven't had to put in any effort except for come up with topics that people need to hear about. Or
Yeah.
you guys had to get up and come in and all that kind of stuff.
I mean, we could do this from home. I could do this from home. It just wouldn't look as good or sound as good. That's why we come in here. But it's no different than me just being at my house on the phone and have Paul record it from somewhere, Gary in at his house. Like, it's all the same thing. We're just hanging.
My point went back to when we use language like attended.
I don't see why it's why it's such a big deal to. Why is this scary for the future? This
It's not a big deal.
This is how people now go about things.
This is what I'm concerned about. Like that.
Well,
that
you
is not
barely
the-
leave your fucking house anyway. What's the difference?
I leave all the time.
You go to work and you come back. You couldn't go to the gym last night because it was too late.
Well, he goes to malls.
I'm not
too.
going at late hours. That's foolishness.
You know who goes to the
I
gym
like
at
going
late
to the gym.
hours?
I do.
Do you know who? Like, sometimes I'll go after work on a Friday. I'll hit the gym around like 6:30, 7. You know who you see at the gym at 7 o'clock on a Friday? People who are in shape.
Really?
I don't
Yes.
doubt that.
Because I find sometimes I think it's like the case of the extremes. I think there are people who are like when you're out of shape and go to the gym. Sometimes you want
That's early
find
in the morning.
hours. That's fair
That's
too.
very early in the morning. The more out of shape people, like 5 a.m., 6 a.m.
Interesting.
When you
okay.
see the people in the evening, especially if it's a Thursday, Friday, Saturday,
it's just people are committed to the craft.
They're committed not only to the craft, but you see a lot of people who are in like really good shape go and get like a quick pump in, so they look very vascular when they go out in their shirts.
That's
I
a
mean,
good
I've
idea.
done that before, so I know. But yeah, and I'm not quite, on the same level of jacked as these people are. In fact, I'm not really jacked whatsoever. But I need to get those veins coming if I want to look good in my shirt.
There's a great. I know you've said many times about the actual importance of going or the difference in terms of going in the morning versus going at night. But there is a nice freedom. Like there's a 24-hour gym in one of the neighborhoods I live close to, and if you show up at like midnight, there's no one there.
Oh, it's great.
It's
yeah.
amazing.
You get
you can just do you can do
walk
whatever
around.
combinations you want.
Yeah.
There's no one
I'll
talks
tell
to
you
you.
who I don't like. Or the people that try to do like the multi combination of machines or whatever they're doing is they're
And they get surprised when someone cuts in.
But it's at like noon when the gym is the most packed, and like people like hop in on the machines because no one's using them, and they like have a meltdown.
Yeah.
Sounds like something Tim would do.
No, I wouldn't.
It seems like you would have a meltdown if someone started using.
I prefer the earlier mornings personally.
Do you ever let people work in on a machine or bench that you're using?
I don't know what you mean by that.
I mean, like
if someone came up to you is like, how many sets on this particular machine do you have left? And if you say like 2, and they say, oh, I can't wait that long, could I work? Could we go back and forth on this?
Yeah, like,
no, I would not be able. I don't know that I'd be able to do that. Like my machine is, I'm on it till I'm off of it, sort of thing. And then when I'm off of it, it's yours.
I can get behind that. I tend to let people work in because sometimes like
I'd prefer to have it just be my own.
Sure, the bench is a big thing. Like if you get to the bench, like the bench is always very crowded.
Yeah,
people love doing the old bench.
Yeah.
That it has to be a similar weight. That's the one thing that I don't like when people work in and they they either add like 90 pounds or take off 90 pounds.
Yeah,
it's like at least work in with someone who's like around what you're doing. Machine's easy. Just pull out the plug, put it in the new one, go about your way. And then you can just put it back when you're done.
Bench would be different though.
But bench, it actually takes time to take the weights off, put the weights on. Anyway, I don't know how we got on the gym about that. Oh yeah, in the evenings.
Yeah.
I like the late afternoon because you want to miss the people who are going right after work, but you also want to miss the people that go right at like on their lunch break. So I find between like 1:30 p.m. and 4:30 p.m. is like a good sweet spot of going to work out.
That's true.
But Tim, you go before work?
I prefer earlier in the mornings. I actually think it's better. It's a better way to start your day, right? It gets you. It is obviously the best time to go physically, and it also is the best. Just it gives you sort of oriented.
Are we sure it's the best time to go physically? Like, do you have data behind that, or is that just who is okay? First of all, who is they?
It's they.
They say
it's just
they say it's the best time ever to go. That's what they say.
No, nutritionists and dietitians say, particularly if you haven't eaten before you go. You're working on an empty stomach, you're burning saved up fat. And plus it gives you a jolt of extra energy and bounce to start your day. Like it really is the best time to work out is probably the second that you wake up. But it's not practical for everybody, and everybody can. And it's not like, oh, you went at 4:00, you might as well not have done anything, sort of thing. Of course not. That's foolish. But I prefer to go earlier in the mornings. It's just I find it's a good way to start your day and sort of like get you focused.
See, I think it depends on what you're doing. Like, you don't really want to work out on an empty stomach if you're doing weights.
Yeah.
That's not a good idea at all. You need that energy. Like, if you're doing cardio, you would prefer to be on an empty stomach just because you start burning fat over burning everything else is in your system. But I don't know.
Yes.
You can just wait to eat till like 1, go run, then eat after. That works too.
Yeah, you can do that too.
And then your fast is more extended.
There's a million different ways to do things. There's no right way, and there are wrong ways, but there's no right way.
How did we get here?
Fortnite concert. I think Tim is just mad that no one invited him to attend.
I don't want to attend. I've attended many things and been invited to things in my life.
Have you? When was the last time you were at a concert? Was it with me in Tennessee in 2009?
Oh boy, when was the last time I was at a concert? No. Since then, I'm sure.
Are you sure? It doesn't sound like you're super sure.
I feel like a lot of people remember concerts. Those are pretty seminal moments.
I do not go to concerts very often.
See, now you can just attend them online if you would like.
That is no.
Just out of curiosity, because I know this has been in the headlines recently. Like Beyonce is going to have her Coachella set on Netflix, and I've over the last couple of years, like Oh Hello went from Broadway to Netflix. Like, how do you feel about that sort of thing? Like, taking the concert experience or taking a theater experience and then just putting it on Netflix. Is that fine?
Yeah, that is fine, because despite my annoyance at this whole Fortnite thing, I actually really don't like concerts. And really don't, I find all the crowds very like annoying and loud.
So how isn't this Fortnite concert absolutely for you?
Because it also isn't attending. Like if you have to quote attend a concert, you have to go through all the uncomfortable irritations of getting up and going to this place around a bunch of people.
If we
listening to
figured out a
bad
way
noise.
to take the bad stuff out of the
I think the
experience, you
bad
should
stuff
celebrate
you
that.
can't get rid of it. I think you have to take the bad stuff with it. That's part of what it is. To
This
attend
is why
concerts.
you like burnt toast. You have this weird Irish sensibility that you have to be punished to enjoy things in life. It's fine to have fun, Tim. People can
Yeah, but-
batflip.
There are please. There are parts of some experiences that have downsides, and you have to put up with. And concerts are one of them. You have to listen to opening sets that you don't want to hear, and go to somewhere before you want to go there, and have to can't stay in your seat because people in front of you have to stand up and dance for some reason, and therefore that requires other people to stand up and be packed into this arena, cheek and jowl, or outside where it could be windy, or there's bugs, or like all kinds of stuff. I don't know. Like, it's cool to see the actual set you want to see, but then like the crowd's getting there and the crowd's getting back. Like it's a whole production, which is why I was never much for concerts that way to begin with. But if you're going to go and attend a concert, then you got to put up with all this stuff. You can't just have dessert. You have to have your vegetables and your dessert, everything for your
Because
meal.
I dealt with it, so you have to deal with it.
Yes.
I don't. I mean, he doesn't deal with it because he doesn't go to concerts,
Yeah.
as he just said. So it's just all like a figment of his imagination.
What was that concert?
We went to Bonnaroo in 2009.
cool.
So there,
I can just imagine
it was
Tim at Bonnaroo.
he did keep our passport safe in his money belt, so that was good.
Yep.
Yeah, you're right. I did.
But there was this thing because he wanted to go because Bruce Springsteen was playing. I wanted to go because the Beastie Boys were playing. It was like the last show that the Beastie Boys ended up doing. But there was this big wall right by the main stage that everyone just went up and pissed against. So it was the pissing wall. So by like Saturday, like there was a good moat by the pissing wall, but there'd be people that were too fucked up and didn't realize it, so they just walk all the way up and just like knee deep in piss. It was fantastic. These are the sort of experiences that I really enjoyed about Bonnaroo.
It was stomach turning. I felt for the poor guy who didn't realize till he was like halfway through of where he was and what he had done.
Well, maybe he shouldn't have
Like,
taken so much
man.
ecstasy.
Yeah.
Possibly.
There's a lot of drugs floating around Bonnaroo.
No.
Yeah,
There could have been.
not gonna lie to you.
Jeez.
Apparently, someone just told me all you need is some Molly and what was it, a bubble machine,
Bubble machine.
and you'll have yourself a time.
I can imagine.
But if you want to stay fresh, just buy a 4-liter jug of water and douse yourself in it.
That's how I did it. I was taking You could pay like $30 for a shower,
Oh.
like in their thing. I mean, listen, they're trying to gouge you
How
the
much is
entire
a 4
time.
liter? That probably wasn't inexpensive either.
Yeah, but you could get free water, but it had like sulfur in it, or it smelled like sulfur. So I just filled up with that.
Oh, yeah. Okay.
So I had like Head and Shoulders and was dumping a jug of water on myself. And we were in the middle of we were in Manchester, Tennessee.
Yeah.
It didn't really matter how you smelled.
I was gonna say, I
and
feel
listen,
like-
fish were playing, so you can just imagine the people that showed up to see
Yeah.
them.
They probably couldn't pin down a smell on you.
No.
Fish. It wasn't just fish. Mo was there too.
Yeah, they're just like fish, like nothing you've ever heard before. That was an actual review. We heard of Mo.
I was a fish out of water in that concert. You can be sure of that.
It was pretty good. It was like it was right after I had met Tim, probably like 8 months before or something like that. I convinced him to come to Bonnaroo with us. Yeah, seeing Tim interact with the hippie culture of Bonnaroo was kind of hilarious.
Yeah.
It was not dissimilar to the time Grandpa attended Woodstock.
Just standing there waiting for Bruce Springsteen to come on.
Was Bruce good though, Tim? Was it worth it?
Bruce was fantastic.
Bruce was
I have
really
to
good.
say.
I feel like he's usually
He
pretty
took
good.
like an 8-second encore. It's just like, all right, that's it. And he like took 2 steps back. He was like, I'm back.
Oh yeah, he was. He probably played for 3.5, 4 hours. That was excellent, and I loved that part of it. But the thing was, I had to put up with nonsense to get there, and that was all part of the experience. That it was earned in a sense.
So you're very much about the hero's journey in a sense. So you as
Like,
the hero reached the climax of seeing Bruce Springsteen play.
Yes, I had to put up with that. I had to put because that's what I wanted, and you have to deal with the outside annoyances, like almost being kidnapped or being told that you might not be able to get on a bus because none of the seats were working, or all kinds of stuff.
These things happen.
Look, in a weird way,
It was fun.
I respect your creed of, you have to overcome things to enjoy stuff. But again, if someone's telling you, hey, we can eliminate some of these things you don't like about this, and now you can do it this way, I feel like that should be applauded. That's a good thing.
Well, and a lot of it was on us too, because we didn't figure out an exit strategy.
Yeah.
We flew into Nashville, when we got the bus to Manchester, but we were flying out of Atlanta on the way back, and came up with no plan to get to Atlanta.
Yeah.
That was the issue.
It's like the start a road trip.
We had to start a bit earlier, take a Greyhound bus. When the Greyhound bus showed up, the front two seats, like, yeah, those seats don't work. I'm like, what do you mean the seats don't work? And I just had Waffle House. I was passed out in the parking lot. It was too fucking hot, and I ordered a medium hash brown at Waffle House. Did not expect the amount of food that I was getting. Just it blew my mind how much food it was.
I just got back from Virginia. I miss it already.
Yeah. It's probably for the best. Your arteries just
Oh
can't take
yeah,
it.
I'd be dead.
So one thing that Garion wanted to bring up, Tim, and this kind of goes with your,
Outside.
aversion to concerts because they're outside, was just your railing on patios, which is just crazy.
Have at it.
Like, okay, so here's the scenario. It's a nice day. It's like 20 degrees. I don't know what that is in Fahrenheit. I'm going to say like 72. 72. Shorts weather kind of thing. It's getting nice out. You live somewhere where it's cold. You don't live in like Texas, where if it's like July, you physically cannot go outside. Or Arizona, it's a bit too dry and it's 116 degrees.
Yeah, don't worry, it's a dry heat.
So something nice that you can just kind of go out and stroll about. You want to have a drink with some friends, and you can go inside the bar, outside the bar on a nice day during the summer. Who is not taking the patio in that situation? I don't know.
Especially, I mean, when this came up, I think it was a couple weeks ago now, but we're talking early April. The winter has dragged here in the great city of Toronto.
A little bit.
And it was a nice day. It was like 16 degrees. It was sunny.
And people were out on
People
patio.
were excited. Like, even I can't remember who brought it. A local athlete recently brought up his like, wow, people take patio season here really seriously. It's like, yeah, because we get it for 3 months. So you got to kind of take advantage of it. But that first day, you get excited. You want to, like, I can understand maybe not wanting to sit outside in like, 95-degree heat. Yeah, I'd rather sit in the AC. I can get behind that, but especially early in the year when you're given a nice day to sit outside and have a beer, that's magical. It's beautiful.
Yeah, you've been inside for 6 months. I just don't see where the disconnect is here with you. It just seems like you don't like being around people or being outside.
So I am an indoorsman by nature. I prefer the indoors.
Who thinks in a different life he could have been a farmer. Let's all remember that.
I am certain that I could have been in this life if I had put my mind to it.
But still can't cook. For an indoorsman, usually they're good cooks. You're not. You just burn everything.
Allow me to make my
use a
point,
barbecue lighter to melt Cool Whip.
Unsuccessfully, I might add.
No, you were successful.
You were successful in melting it.
Not singeing it. I wanted it to look like meringue.
No. We said melting.
I know. I think Garion brings up a fair point, which is why I think it's worth, responding to what he said.
Oh, thank you.
Outdoors is awful. As a rule. It is loud.
Let's just start there.
It is dirty for the most part. There are flies, there are bugs, there are ambient noises. Drinking and eating outside, I'm constantly thinking about, what if something flies into my drink? Or what if something falls into my drink?
I didn't realize you were Howard Hughes.
No, I'm not. But like, if maybe it'll be windy. I don't want people walking by seeing me eat and drink, because I don't like seeing people eat and drink out on patios. Like, I think that's kind of weird. Like, it's almost kind of like showy.
I mean,
like
look at this guy.
Look at this big fucking man having his drink and having a meal, wanting everyone to see him. What a fucking big shot.
I think there is something peacocky about having to be seen drinking some, some import beer on tap in front of everybody. Like, I don't know, just that's not for me.
If it was an import beer on tap, how would they know what it was?
Because they're in
It'd
those
just
glasses.
be brown in a glass.
Fancy glasses. They're all in those fancy glasses. I would. Excuse me. I would prefer.
Is it just because you can't smoke outside on patios anymore?
No, I would prefer to be inside in a climate-controlled atmosphere where the chairs are almost always more comfortable than the ones that are outside, where the tables are nicer, you're closer to the washroom,
there's a perfectly good wall outside.
Yeah, it's a pissing wall.
The lighting is more consistent. You don't have to worry about like the sun being in somebody's eyes at the table, where 3 people have a good glare. One person has to like keep their sunglasses on. Like that's like, and that's a whole
really
fight.
big shot.
Oh, look at this fucking big deal wearing his fucking sunglasses outside. You think you're a big man?
You think you're better than me?
You think you're better than me, Tim? With your sunglasses and your beer in a glass?
Ever since I was young, I never liked eating outside. That whole alfresco lifestyle never did it for me. I preferred to be inside where it was quieter. Always found you got good service inside because you weren't like outside. I don't know why that was, but I always found like I got better service.
Well, you never go outside. How do you know? What do you have to compare it to?
TVs, oftentimes indoors. I like to look at whatever's on TV while I'm eating or whatever. Like
so you want to go out to have a TV experience when you were just complaining about people going on the internet to have an experience when you go out to the patio to go hang with some friends and have a few brew.
Also, I feel like you haven't gone out since 1996. It's like, oh, how are they going to get these TVs outside? Where are they going to hide the extension cables? Ah!
You usually don't see TVs outside on patios, in my experience.
Well, you never go out. That's why.
Yeah.
I just think it's a more fun experience. You know, it's better indoors where the seats are more comfortable, where the tables are cleaner, where there's not a bunch of noise and there's not a bunch of people walking around. And like it's distracting. And
no, but those are the things you need to endure to enjoy your beer. If you don't endure those things, how could you even taste the beer?
If you thought that it was somehow more enjoyable to be outside, again, I don't think that it is. I don't necessarily see why I need to feel bad. I was like one of those kids who, if I wanted to stay inside on a summer day, I never felt bad about it. I didn't like the people who would like, oh, you wasted your day inside. Like that used to hurt my feelings. Like I didn't waste my day. I'm happier reading a book. I'm happy reading a book inside than run around outside.
Yeah, you can read a book outside, get some fresh air.
As again, you people that is not what I want to do. As long
as you charge your book before you go, you've got at least 3 or 4 hours.
You bring an external charger for your book.
That's true too.
If you want to.
No.
You're good to go.
I would rather stay indoors and do these things. That's what I like. And there's a lot of us who would rather stay indoors in a climate controlled environment, free from the elements, free from, just like nature is dirty and like windy and just there's lots of things that do not endorse it. And so I'm not saying you shouldn't go on patios. Have at it. I just said I don't like the guilt trip that many of us have to deal with when you're like, oh, you don't like patios. Like there's something like wrong with your hard wiring that you don't want to be out on a patio in May. And so the whole world can see you having a beer on a patio with your friends, like in a beer commercial or something. And I'm sorry, I don't find that all that appealing. Thank you kindly. I'd rather be indoors.
Well, here's the thing. There's a producer's note I got here. It's like, this patio rant just makes you sound like a gigantic pussy who doesn't like going outdoors. Well, you're afraid of outside. Oh my God, what's on the other side of that door? He's like that guy from The Simpsons, the agoraphobic, who Homer ran into in the mental institution. It's like, oh, I just couldn't leave my house that day. Was the door locked? No, I just couldn't leave. Was there someone outside? That's Tim. But mix it with Howard Hughes.
I was going to say the Howard Hughes thing.
The only thing that I can really get behind with Tim is I don't like to necessarily have a meal outside.
No, I'm with him on that too.
Appetizers, I feel like if you're going to be using a knife and fork for a meal, I don't really want to do that outside. Yep. Then the stuff like the wind starts getting into me.
Yeah, sure.
If I'm having
your
beer,
napkin starts like blowing onto your food.
If I'm having beer, I'm having a drink. That's great. If I'm having appetizers, you got some potato skins, you got some nachos, chips and dip, whatever it might be. Just whatever. Yeah. That's great outdoor food. I don't want to have a meal outdoors. I'm on with Tim about that, but everything else just seems ludicrous. I want to get some fresh air. I want to get some sun, get some vitamin D into myself. I feel better when I'm outdoors, don't you?
Yeah, I think you're because I also agree in the sense that it's not nice to be peer pressured into doing something. So I can agree with you in that.
Disagree.
But I think that you're attributing that level of peer pressure into this perceived arrogance of sitting outside and drinking a beer like it's some sort of social signal.
Well, it is sort of a social signal. It's like, this is not me living my best life out here having a lager on the deck with all my best friends at this patio.
That sounds lovely.
Honestly, the way that you project onto these certain things where you're just completely off base of why people want to do it really says a lot about you.
No, it doesn't.
It really does. People are not sitting on patios because they want other people to see them on patios. They sit on the patios and have a beer with their friends because they like chatting with their friends. They like getting drunk and they like being outdoors. That's it.
Oh, many of these people live in the esteems of others and are looking for an opportunity for the right shot to put up on Insta. Let's not fool ourselves.
You're not even, as someone who's not even on Instagram, you seem to have a whole lot of catalog knowledge about it, don't you?
I know what's going on. As a maven of pop culture, I have to be aware of these sorts of things.
Maven of pop culture, not on Instagram.
I'm
He
glad you
should.
brought
He's
up
got a lot of
appetizers
time.
because that's also on my list of things.
What?
Okay.
I don't understand this obsession with appetizer culture. There's people who want to go out for a meal, but all they want to get is appetizers, or let's go out and just eat an appetizer. An appetizer is supposed to be something small you eat before you have your main meal. It's like there's something really bizarre about this cultural, and I think this is because millennials are lazy and don't want to stay for a full meal. They would just rather have some potato skins and then leave. But like you're
Well,
supposed to have.
I don't think you're. I mean, the appetizers that you're talking about are from like the shitty places that you go to, where I think it's only fried food. Like, check this out. Here's what I got as my appetizer the other day when Sam and I went out.
This is good for a video or audio
Oh, that's great.
podcast that no one can see what you've got.
Well,
Yeah, Timmy. Again, I can put the picture up on the screen.
are you
Tell me
talking
if I
about?
can't see.
I'm telling Gary.
Yeah, but
I got some nice foie, and that's all we had. Just Sam and I split a foie. We had a glass of wine.
Yeah, but are you talking about people who, instead of ordering like an appetizer and an entree, decide like, hey, let's order like 6 appetizers and share some stuff? Because
I mean, that's
Yes,
great.
that bothers me.
Th-
but
that's
people
fantastic.
just want to try. People just want to try as much of the menu as they can.
I mean, there's a lot. I mean, that's a very Mediterranean way just to go
Yeah.
eat to begin with. That's just the style that everything is served in, that you get all these like mini plates,
Yeah.
and then you share them amongst everyone. I went to Biblos the other day, and that's exactly what we do. I think we ordered like 8 dishes between the 4 of us, and we just kind of, hey, that looks good. Let me try one of that. Let me try some of that. It was fantastic.
yeah.
No, I don't like that. I want my own plate of my stuff
Well-
that I'm not sharing with anybody else. That's mine, and I want an appetizer that's mine, and then I want a dessert that's mine. and I don't.
You realize you can
Yeah,
have
you can
that
also
stuff.
do that. No, nothing is
But like people
stopping
want to
you.
go out and they're like, oh well, let's get a.
Oh, we're back to peer pressure. Okay, yeah.
When like 6 people say, let's just get a bunch of appetizers, and then everyone's like, oh yeah, oh. It's like at that point you're sort of like pot committed. You're like, I guess so. Okay, I guess we're gonna have some, matzo sticks and some.
See,
Do you only eat at bars?
Yeah,
with
you
cake
just
inside
enjoy
for it?
the lowest form of appetizers of all time. Like,
Or
have you
nachos or whatever.
ever been to anywhere that's not like a pub?
Of course I have.
Have you? What do they have as appetizers then? These places that are not pubs that you go to.
I had ceviche once as an appetizer, and it was quite good.
Okay, so once you had that. What else besides ceviche? Continue.
I don't know. I had oysters Rockefeller once.
What's
Those were
that?
good.
You had what?
I had oysters Rockefeller once. That was good.
You had oysters for an appetizer. Okay, so now we're getting somewhere. Ceviche, oysters, both those sound very delicious.
What
I would
stopped
like
you
to
from
have
getting him a second time?
I would like to have a little of one and a little of the other.
Well, the next time you get the next one. This time you
But
get
there
this one.
hasn't hasn't been a next time for you.
Yeah, you've been to
do you-
2 places in 35 years.
Do you go to sleep at night, rolling around in
they
bed,
don't
thinking
have
about the
fried food
appetizers
as
that
an
got away?
appetizer.
I just maybe it's a North American approach, but so what? I was born in North America. I can't help that. I sort of like having I don't like sharing my dish.
Yeah, it just sounds like you don't like sharing in general.
Yeah. I don't think people want to
Unless-
share with you.
yeah,
Yeah.
unless you're sharing your flu with everyone.
Look, there are nights when I go to a restaurant and I definitely have something in mind where it's like, this is what I want. That's why I'm here, and that's what I'm gonna have.
Yeah.
But
No, but there's a whole culture of people now who just get appetizers. They go to a restaurant and it's just an appetizer.
it's just food.
No, but it's not though.
Yes.
What are you talking
appetizer.
about?
It's not a meal. It's not like people get like 3 appetizers. But like,
So if you showed up to the restaurant and on the menu someone had scratched out the word appetizers, it would be fine.
or sometimes it says starters. Like it's supposed to start.
You're in
that way.
a
There's
very
order.
like specific word mood today. It's
I
interesting.
am. I like that words ought to mean what they say and ought to have some practical implication. I'm just gonna have
guess.
3 appetizers. Okay, are you just gonna have
But
some?
look, if
some
if the
Rosewater
appetizers are
sorbet
like,
with
if you
soup?
can get to take it to your bar place for a second, if you can get like French onion soup, chicken wings, and then maybe some like, I don't know, like bacon wrapped Brussels sprouts or something like that.
I actually like the bacon and Brussels sprouts. I do that a lot.
You're not that's not a meal to you? That's not a soup, a main, and a vegetable? Like how does that not constitute a
If you
meal?
wanted it all on one plate or something, I guess it's
So if they served it to you on 3 separate plates, that doesn't count.
So if you just had one big plate, it would be fine. But if it's on 3 separate plates, it's
But it's not
no
one.
bueno for you.
Come on, you know what I mean.
I
really
really
know.
don't. This just sounds completely crazy.
There's something strange about this.
Have you ever thought that maybe it's not strange? Maybe you're strange.
No, I'm not.
No, Seymour. It's the kids who are wrong.
Like,
It's just this whole appetizer culture, just I don't understand it. Like people like live for appetizers and like they don't get the main meals. And
I
it's
just think
strange.
this goes back to your
If I owned a
dislike.
restaurant, you would not be able to buy an appetizer unless you got an entree too.
Okay, well that's
Are
that's
you
weird.
doing this? Are you pounding your
Probably.
fist and fingers on the table
No,
while you're
this,
saying
this is what I think it is though.
Also, what fantasy menu, Tim? What's on your menu?
What do you mean fantasy menu?
What's
Like
your
you've opened a
perfect
restaurant.
5-course meal?
What is on your menu? What can I get as appetizers at your restaurant?
Oh, I think the traditional fare, you know, like nachos and mozzarella sticks and like pierogies or
So,
you
so
know,
basically,
some-
the only element that people are going to
fruit-
have
or
to
fruit
cook food
plate.
at your restaurant is a deep fryer.
no, a fruit plate or a cheese plate.
A
I
a
suppose.
fruit plate?
Yeah, sure, you can have
What are
that.
you talking about a fruit plate? What was the last? Have you ever been anywhere that has offered a fruit plate as an appetizer?
I'm sure that I
Like
have.
when you walk into the supermarket and you buy one of those trays? Is that what you're talking about?
I've done that. That's supper. I've done that sometimes.
How is that
How
supper?
does that constitute supper?
I just take it home and eat it by myself.
So that's fine.
Yeah.
You
Oh,
buy something
yeah,
that you just said is an appetizer, but if you buy it and bring it home and eat it at dinner time, it's dinner to you.
I didn't buy it at a restaurant off their appetizer menu.
I
But you just
the
said it's an
level
appetizer.
of
It's just crazy. It's
It's-
pure insanity.
because again, this is what I think it is you
If
don't
I opened a restaurant, every meal would be a 3-course meal.
But here's the
There'd be
thing.
no a la
You
carte.
would eat at your restaurant every single night. So over the course of the month or two you eat there, you would get to try everything. Where millennials like to go to different places. So when you go to
I don't even think you should categorize millennials as
sure,
that. People,
regular people like to go to many different restaurants to try different things. So if you go somewhere once, realistically you can think to yourself, I'm probably not going to be back here anytime soon because I'd like to try something different. Let me try as much of this menu as I
I
can.
can't imagine. I am not wired to think that way. If I like something, I'll have it every single day or go there all the time because I like it. I don't need to try something new. I know I like that.
See, these are not the consumers that are
No.
generally in the market for going out for food.
It's called brand loyalty. Some of us have it.
It's so crazy.
It's crazy to you. But there
No,
are many
no.
people-
I would like people to comment on this particular topic about brand loyalty of restaurants, of places to go to. Please comment if you think that Tim is crazy, insane, or he's on point with this one. Leave that
I
in
mean,
the
you don't
comment
think
section.
there are people who are regulars, and there's a lot of people there who are
Oh, no.
regulars.
Yeah, most of those. You know what regular is a fun word for? Alcoholic.
No, that's not true. There are
Yes, it
people who
is.
don't-
Regulars, when you say the word regular, Tim, if you're all about verbiage, and this is what we're getting into, the semantics of the words, if you say the word regular, you're always saying it as it pertains to a bar, and those people sit at the bar and drink away their feelings.
There are regulars at places that aren't bars.
Really?
I guarantee
Where-
you.
you guarantee me. Tell me, please explain the
There are
scenario.
lots of fast food restaurants where there are people who are
This is
regulars.
not getting less sad.
Yeah, this is getting even sadder.
Like they're the Tim Hortons near my house. They know my order as soon as I walk
That's
in the
also
door.
not a restaurant; it's a coffee place.
It is a restaurant. It sells food and beverages. What is that but a restaurant?
People used to go there all the time because they had this room, feel like a glass room where you could smoke in it, and people would just sit in the smoky room for 2 hours.
They had one of those. Is it coffee? No, not coffee time. Yeah, coffee time. Yeah, but the best part was it was in the hospital my dad worked in, which really seemed to be missing the point. But I guess it was close to a hospital in that way. So, but yeah, you couldn't see through it. It was great.
Yeah, I don't think that like you want to say regulars as it pertains to fast food.
No.
That doesn't even make sense. That's just
Now,
you're lazy.
I will agree with you in the sense if your point is that people have the fast food restaurant they most like to frequent. Sure.
I can get behind that.
But I wouldn't term that as being a regular anywhere. And if a fast food place, I mean, where we used to work at Fantasy, there was a Harvey's very close.
So we go there all the time.
We would go there very often. I did get to a point where I pretty much knew everyone who worked there. And
You were
it was
regular.
one of the saddest moments of my life.
But have you been to a Harvey's since you left there?
No.
No.
It was close.
It was right next door.
Yeah.
So it was just a part of convenience but the local, which was right next door, a few of the people at Fantasy became regulars at the local. Do you
Yeah.
know what it wasn't for? Their tacos.
No.
It was for their $3 beer. And they would just spend all night there and then be really sleepy at work the next morning when they came in 2 hours late.
Yeah.
So you're way off base
I
with this.
think I've won this one.
Have you? When would we even poll this, Paul?
Well, it's us three versus him.
Us three versus him. So raise our hand if we think that Tim won. I don't see any hands. Raise your hand if you think Tim lost. That's 3-0, Tim. You don't even get a vote on this one. That's just craziness. I got one for you.
Okay.
This is a very quick one. And
Sure.
it's food related. Cold butter. What's the point? When they serve you
100% agree.
when they serve you your bread and they bring out like a cold stick of butter, it doesn't spread well.
No.
I just don't get it.
Yeah, that's pretty bad.
It's nonsense. I don't know why people do it. That's why, for example, I am on Team Margarine because it spreads.
I mean, as long as the butter just isn't
You could
frozen,
you could
you're
just
fine.
it's not like you have to specially prepare the butter. You literally just put it at room temperature.
You
Okay, but many of the restaurants that you go to, they are not at room temperature. They're cold, and therefore it is impossible to spread. So I have to specifically ask for margarine if I'm looking to have a spread.
When you say margarine
Like
to
it's
the
a
servers, do
woman's
they give you a
name.
weird look?
No,
Are you sure? Because that's a really bizarre way to pronounce that.
whatever.
It's not a whatever. I mean, we're all about words today. I mean, if
And
someone
I
said that to
actually
me, I'd be
like
like,
it.
"What the fuck is wrong with you? What are you talking
I
about?"
actually like it better than butter, to be perfectly honest with you.
I'm not shocked by this take. You know what?
I really don't
To be-
care.
I was gonna say,
I just
to be
don't
fair,
care.
I don't have a take on this.
You could just give me margarine and tell me it was butter, and I would believe you. Like, there's no real difference to me. If I'm cooking, it's a bit different.
So you can believe it's not butter.
I can believe it's not butter. But
Oh,
yeah,
there you
when you're
go.
cooking, like that's the only time when I think the frozen butter works out well. Like if you're like sometimes I'll make steak in what they call it? The skillets, like
Oh, yeah.
cast irons.
Yeah,
And
Iron
it's
skillet?
good to have the frozen butter in that because it will spread
Mhm.
evenly across the
Oh,
bottom
I
of
just use
everything.
pan.
You would use pan?
I just use pan. Yeah, I just use pan just as well.
Yeah, but you also don't use a cast iron.
No, but even if I were to use a cast iron, I would use pan instead of butter.
Oh no. Yeah, but the butter's for
You're
the
the one who got me on the
There's-
pan.
there's-
You
yeah,
fucking
but
know
I,
that.
butter is
listen,
for
I'm big.
flavor.
I'm big on Pam. If I'm cooking in the oven, I mean, I want to cook some sweet potatoes, in the oven. Put some Pam down on a piece of tinfoil, so I don't have to wash the thing later.
Perfect.
You know, put the oil on the potatoes, throw them in, make sure the Pam doesn't stick. That's great. I'm all for that. Cook some eggs in a pan if you don't have one of those super as seen on TV.
Gotham Steel.
I have Gotham Steel. It still sticks. So you still have to use Pam to make sure it doesn't stick to the bottom. All for that. If you're cooking like a steak, you want the butter as a flavor for the steak. Like it marinates in the steak as it goes.
Oh, I've been using pan.
Oh.
That's like
I was under the impression that Pam replaces the need for butter for anything.
no,
Not for flavor purposes.
no. Pam is just there so it doesn't stick to the bottom of things.
Now,
That's it.
now
that's
in my
that's
head,
its only
I'm
thing.
seeing him
That's the only
like
reason you use
marinate
Pam so it
his
doesn't
steak
stick.
in Pam.
You know,
I've done that.
Oh, Tim.
I've done that. I've just
Buddy.
sprayed on the steak.
Buddy.
Oh.
You're the one who told me it's just as good as butter, so I've been buying
Oh
it.
no!
It's as good as butter so it doesn't stick to the bottom of things. So
Well,
instead
no,
of
but you
it's,
said and you said not to get the cheap stuff, get the real. Well, I always get the real Pam.
I agree. I listen.
and
What
I
you're
use it as a spray instead of butter. I spray Pam on stuff.
not on stuff, so it doesn't stick to stuff.
You told me it was a butter replacement, that it was better for my health. I was like, okay,
is
fine.
incredible.
And so I've been buying it.
I never said it was better for your health. What I said was,
Oh.
as you'll see some people, they'll take like a pan that you put in the oven and they'll just smear butter on the bottom of it and then put everything on the top of it. But
Yes.
I always find that sticks. So if you use like Pam and you spray it on, I find it doesn't stick.
Yeah.
Therefore, Pam is a lot better than butter from that move. If you buy the cheap like knockoff brand Pam, it still
not
sticks.
worth it, yeah.
It doesn't work. So you're better off spending the extra buck to buy the Pam so it doesn't stick to the bottom. I am not advocating spraying Pam on your steak and throwing it in things. That's insane.
I'm
Oh,
so
that's my
happy
steak.
this
I would
happened.
spray my asparagus with it. Like,
Oh no,
put some
Tim.
pepper on it.
Oh,
I
no,
would
Tim.
spray my veggies with it. Like I've been using it for a lot of that kind of. I was under the impression you're supposed to use that as that the purpose of Pam is like it replaced butter when you did all your cooking and stuff. This is the way I understood it from you. That's why I've been doing it this way.
I feel bad that that's what you took
Yeah,
from that conversation.
I don't think you're at fault for assuming that this would be the result of what you said.
Imagine spraying Pam onto your steak.
Stop laughing at me. Because you said it was better, is lower in calories and all this kind of stuff. And
Yeah, so it doesn't stick to the bottom of things. And when you
well, I didn't
Like when you do that sort of thing, like especially like if you use you should be like, if you're ever going to cook steak on like a stovetop, you should be using a cast iron. That way it contains the heat, it works well, and you should be using I want to say Kelowna oil, but that's not true. Canola oil, Kelowna. City in BC, some sort of oil, but it doesn't have the same burn temperature. So like it's not as smoky. Like if you use like olive oil or extra virgin olive oil to put in it, it'll smoke quicker. If you use canola oil, it doesn't smoke quite as quickly, so therefore you can cook it at a higher temperature. And if you use the cast iron skillet, it actually retains all the heat. You can put your butter in it, you can put your spices in it, move it around. You don't just use some like $5 pan and spray Pam on your steak and fucking chuck it in. You might as well just go back to microwaving your steaks.
Oh.
All right. Well, I guess there was a miscommunication on both of our part here.
I don't feel like I ever communicated that to you.
Yeah. I think this one's on you, Tim.
Anyway, I don't know where we got on this about butter replacement. Yeah, no, cold butter is dumb.
Oh.
That is not the avenue I thought we were going to get there
You
with that.
can't unhear some of these things.
One other quick one. You know how I heard this? People have a problem with this Trump fella that I heard about?
Yeah.
I see him on the internet all the time.
Oh, sure. Yeah.
Seems like a lot of fun. I think that if people just didn't read Trump's tweets in the Trump voice, which I think goes a long way to helping like his overall message, that he's one of the few people that no matter what he writes, people say it in his voice, which is a huge win. As people who write for a living, if people can read something in your voice, that's a big win.
That's
and
the
it goes a
goal.
long way to getting your message across. What if you just read Trump's tweets in a happy voice? Or just use a different voice instead of Trump's tweet. I feel like it'd be a bit different.
At one point,
sad.
Unfortunately, that's the thing. He writes so colorfully in his tweets. Like he really writes to his own voice. So it's tough.
At one point, Randy Quaid was trying to read his tweets every time he tweeted.
That's a bad call. He needs
like
better
in
PR
like in
people.
very strange ways. Now, Randy Quaid's a real weird fellow to begin with. And like he would like go on Twitter and like read Trump tweets in like his own voice and make it sound like it was a mystery novel or something. It did not work, and that's part of the reason he does it anymore. Yeah, that is true. He definitely has his
Isn't
own
Randy
voice.
Quaid pro-Trump though? Why would he be trying to do that?
Didn't Randy Quaid get like kicked out of the U.S. or something like that? Wasn't he hiding in B.C. for a while?
I don't know.
Have something like that. I couldn't even remember all the ins and outs of it. Just you would see it on Twitter back in the early days, where like he would like in black and white like read out Trump tweets.
Oh, okay. So before he became president.
Either when he just became president or like just after he won the election, something I can't remember, but for a stretch he was doing that.
Okay.
And then it just.
And also to show Tim's bias, like 10 days ago or something like that, when Game of Thrones was returning, Doug the Pug put out a picture of Doug dressed as Daenerys. It was like Pug of Thrones. And then Tim said it was the lamest thing of all time. Doug doesn't get pop culture. I get one from him the other day. Trump puts out a Game of Thrones tweet. Trump gets pop culture. What a great tweet. Tim, would you like to weigh in on that?
I meant that in a very sarcastic.
Oh, yeah. So now that you're working it backwards.
So now you can read sarcasm. Interesting.
No, I mean, I said that was the tweet itself was sort of silly. And I was saying, oh, you get the pop culture. I was saying it very tongue in cheek. Doug doesn't get pop culture, but Doug, that whole Pugger of Dragons tweet was very late. You know, any attempt to like impersonate Game of Thrones, no matter whether you're the president or you're a dog whose 15 minutes of fame is up. I don't find that.
You know, that normal spectrum.
Yeah, I guess so. Tim's very pumped that Green Acres is coming back to TV, his favorite show of all time. I thought if they really want ratings, they should kill the pig and replace it with Doug the Pug.
Arnold Ziffel is perhaps the most charming animal in the history of television. That pig was not just the type of pig where people would like copy off his answers in school because he was really smart, but he also like used to win contests all the time. Like he was a very, very good pig. He had his own paper route.
Tim's jealous of the pig.
Yeah.
Arnold Ziffel lived, you talk about people living their best life. That's a pig that lived his best life.
It's a fictional character.
So what?
Doug's not. Doug's a real person. He's a New York Times bestseller.
So you say.
I mean,
so the New York Times says.
Yeah. Are you just mad because you won't make as much in one lifetime as Doug makes in 1 year?
No, I'm not.
I mean, I am.
Think about your.
I'm not as obsessed with these things as you are.
Your salary per year versus his salary per dog year,
or per Instagram post.
Oof.
I heard he gets paid around $15,000 per Instagram post.
I mean, he is an influencer.
Oh, yeah. Why? So we can see him dress up like Dumbo? Like, who's paying money for that?
Dumbo, the movie. They'll give Doug $15,000 to do that?
They could use it because that movie looked like trash.
You
Well,
didn't even see
It
it.
was Tim Burton.
Don't
exactly
all
pumping
of
out the
these
hits
live
lately.
don't all these live action Disney movies look like trash?
I don't know.
No.
People are pretty stoked for
Well,
Aladdin.
Dumbo spent a ton of money to make that movie.
Oh, sure. That flopped. I think their mistake was going to Tim Burton.
Like the ears.
Oh.
I bet you'll do gangbusters in like China.
Yeah, no, Jungle Book was really good.
can't
Lion
imagine
King's
it
gonna
being-
make $1 billion. I don't know.
I doubt it'll be any good. I don't know why Disney
I'll never
is-
see it, but I'll assume it's not good and move on my way.
and they're not even picking the good movies. Like, you want to pick a good live action Disney movie, do something like the Great Mouse Detectives. That would be fun. That I'd go see.
What is that?
I
That's the one
look,
with Vincent Price.
it's a
It's
very
like-
it's a good movie. It's a very nice Disney movie. It's certainly not in the upper echelon of Disney movies.
It's like Disney's Sherlock Holmes with like Vincent Price plays the Professor Moriarty character.
Feel like they really maxed out their mouse budget on Stuart Little. And then since then, it's just that we've been out. Didn't they try to do like a live action Alvin and the Chipmunks?
Oh, there's been a couple of those.
Wasn't that a thing?
There's been
Did they really? I think they may
Three
have
of
made
those?
that movie.
Oh,
I think that movie got made.
I remember there was one called the Squeakquel.
oh,
Yeah.
Oh my goodness.
that sounds like something Tim would come up. If Tim had come up with it, the most clever line of all
What a
time.
Clever line.
All right, what else you got, Tim?
Well, I have a couple of things. I don't know which ones you want to go through.
Just pick one. How about that?
Well, I mean, like, is there any point? I wrote this down weeks ago. Is there any point really in rehashing the phone debacle? Probably not.
Garion doesn't know about this. So please enlighten Garion.
Towards the about a month and a half or 2 months ago, I decided that it was time for me to upgrade my phone.
Perfect. I love where this
So-
is going.
So I had been putting it off for a long time because I knew the second I bought a new phone, second I embraced the type of change, something disastrous was going to happen.
Mhm.
So I put it off and put it off and put it off. But it got to the point where my battery life was very inconsistent. It didn't last very well. The phone was old. I needed to make a change. So eventually I bit the bullet, bought a new phone. And I asked the person at the kiosk, like the store that was setting it up for me, to make sure that I didn't have to do anything. This would all like transfer over. But I had a phone number with an area code that is no longer the area code I was in. And it seemed to me after a year and a half, it was time to change my phone number. So I did. So I changed my phone number. And then
Hold on.
I got the
hold,
phone.
hold on one second. Just stop the story right there. Garion, I'll
Yes.
throw this to you. Where do you envision a problem occurring here?
It's interesting because initially I thought it was just going to be something to do with getting like locked out of his own phone or something along those lines. I'm not quite sure.
All right, so you're curious. Tim,
Yeah.
continue.
So I changed the phone number and I've got the phone. It's working okay. Try to get into my apps. Try to get into Twitter. It asked me to put in my password. Now, I haven't put in my Twitter password in a lifetime. So I said, you know what? Never mind. I'll just change my password because I don't know it. So I put in to change my password, and it says, okay, it's going to send a verification for you to bring in a new password. Well, the verification is going to my old phone number.
Yep.
I thought it would go to my email. No. It went to my old phone number. And so I tried to cancel the password change, but that wouldn't work. I tried to put him. I went back in and tried to like cancel it. No, your password, because I requested a password change, I couldn't go back from it. And I couldn't access the code to get into my Twitter account because I changed my phone number. So at this point, I was panicked. I was like, okay, what am I going to do? I can't access these codes. They keep sending them to me and I can't get it. So I start telling the guys through text message what's going on. And they're
And
like,
we were
oh,
like, new number, who
you'll
dis?
figure this out. How hard can this be? Obviously, there's a quick fix. Well, I went on Google and I went everywhere, and it was clear that there was no quick fix to this.
So then,
What?
myself and Butts both went on Google just to make sure that Tim didn't just not look in the right
overlook
place.
something.
He was absolutely right on this one. Like,
Yeah.
If this happens to you, you're kind of fucked.
So
Yeah, I
my
didn't know who I
only
would
solution-
call.
Well,
I called my phone company and said, listen, about an hour ago, I changed my phone number, but I'm locked out of, and not just Twitter, I'm on Facebook, all these other apps. I can't get into them because I tried to change the passwords and they're all going to my old phone number. So I had to agree. I had to call them, get on the phone with them, and get them to change my phone number back to the old number just for an hour, so that I could get the password codes, write down what my new passwords were, and then switch back to the phone number that I had switched to before. It was a very, very, and this is why I do not embrace change. This is why I knew something bad would happen the second I went after this phone, that some disaster would beset me that I couldn't anticipate. I didn't know what it was, but it was something. And it was very, very stressful. Then I went home and tried to sync my phone up to my computer, but I hadn't synced my phone up to my computer in years. So when I clicked sync up,
what do you think is going to happen?
It went back to 2014 and deleted all the photos I had on my phone from 2014 through present, and I couldn't get them back because I had already synced my phone to go back to those. So it was a tangle.
If you just use Instagram, all your photos would have been saved there.
Yeah.
It's one of the benefits of Instagram. It just saves all the photos that you want to save. Also, how much did it cost you to change your number back for that hour?
There was a fee.
How much?
Doesn't matter how much. I don't want to get into it. Other than, believe me, there almost isn't a price that I wouldn't have paid to get my Twitter account.
You would have to start from scratch. 0 followers.
Well,
I have put a lot of time and
he's
effort
got
into having
8 accounts to choose from.
That's true.
You tell me you didn't know the passwords to any of your accounts?
Yeah, but he would have been locked out because of the phone.
Oh, that's true.
I guess my whole question is, why did you feel the need to change your phone number?
Because my area code was no longer
area codes don't mean anything anymore.
Though. Well, they do when you have people I have grandmothers who would like to call me on my phone, and I don't want them having to call me long distance on my cell phone.
Is that even long distance anymore? I thought it was nationwide, fine at this point.
Essentially any plan you have is Canada wide. You can call anywhere for free.
Many older people and people I know don't have any of these sorts of plans. All they have are home phones. And
but even home phones, it's the same on home phones.
I didn't want an area code that I no longer was in. I wanted the area code.
So these superficial reasons that Tim's talking about costing people more money because of long distance aren't even real. Tim just wanted a new phone number.
I'm concerned about that too.
But that's not a thing anymore. That went away 5 years ago.
I was not discouraged in any way from doing this by the people who were at the store. I felt like I needed a new number. I don't regret changing my number. I regret not knowing that that I didn't know my passwords. But that will never happen again because I wrote those down.
You don't have your passwords written down somewhere?
No, I don't. I'm pretty good at memorizing them, but then I hadn't used some of these in so long.
If you're that, I'll throw this out here to you, and you should really go change your passwords. But if you have the ability to memorize most of your passwords, they are not strong enough and can be breached.
I don't know. I use pretty obscure ones that people wouldn't guess.
I mean, it's not about people can't guess them. It's about someone putting in some sort of algorithm to guess all the choices.
Many of them are characters from old 60s and 70s sitcoms that nobody would
You know what you want? Weird symbols and numbers and weird uppercase and lowercase letters that don't correspond to one another. That's what you want. You know when they give you those temp passwords for things and they're always the most ridiculous thing that you could never memorize? Those are the effective passwords you want to have.
Okay, well, those aren't the passwords I have.
Well, you want to? If Tim had,
I'm gonna go type in Laverne87 into all of Tim's Twitter accounts and see what pops up.
You just hear him typing in the background, just trying to change his passwords right now. If he had online banking, everyone could steal his money, but he doesn't have it. He's out thinking the system.
I've got a couple people in my immediate life who distrust online banking.
I have online banking. I don't
makes me
trust it, but I have it.
It amuses me to no extent.
My grandma has online banking. Is all
I
about
it, but I prefer to go to the bank.
I have people where it's I'll send you an e-transfer. Oh no, I don't do e-transfers. What are you talking about?
I can accept them on my phone if they have my phone number. It just gets sent right to me. I'm boom, it's in my account. Let's go. Sam has a thing where just you take a picture of the check and just deposit it into your account. It's great.
Yeah, I don't like that at all. I have to say, of all the things, that one roils me the most.
That's where you draw the line.
But who doesn't like that? That saves you a trip of having to go to the bank.
No, but the check is supposed to be looked at and endorsed and then given back to the person after they've endorsed to reconcile for their checkbook.
The fuck are you talking about?
What are you talking about? Do you take every check to a teller?
Yes, every time, every single time, without exception.
I mean, with this much time on your hands, I don't see how you don't go outdoors more often.
the amount of time I spend banking isn't all that great. It's not like I'm spending a ton of time doing this.
It just sounds like you're wasting your time going to the bank when this could be solved for you. And as someone who hates leaving your house, you can do all of this from your house.
Again, I dispute that as well. It's not that I do like leaving my house. I
You
leave my house
just
all the time.
referred to yourself as an indoorsman.
Just because I'm indoors doesn't mean I'm indoors in my own house. I like to be indoors at other places.
So you have like a series of tunnels where you get to these other
Are
places?
you a moleman?
Oh,
But like outdoors is fine in moderation. I don't mind. Like I like playing golf. I like walking near a beach sometimes.
He also doesn't think you should drink on the golf course.
out of what respect?
I don't
The
like
integrity of your back
Now,
nine score?
It's how Tim gets his exercise, and drinking and exercise should not be mixed together. I
There's
believe
that, and it's just like I find I don't play as sharply. I'm not saying other people shouldn't. I'm just saying I don't. I don't like drinking on the golf course. I prefer to just play.
It's because you have to drive a golf cart and you shouldn't mix alcohol and driving?
Well, I feel very strongly about that too. I just
Well,
don't
in a
like
general sense, I agree, but not when it comes to
Listen,
golf carts.
A golf course is the one place you can get away drinking and driving.
It's true.
That's it.
I just don't usually. I don't like to drink when I play golf. I will. But I mean, I don't like to drink a lot of things. I'm the type of person I'd rather have a Coca-Cola over a beer in almost every situation.
I would say the only scenario where I wouldn't drink as I was playing golf is, and I'm a terrible golfer, so this would never happen. But if I started a round exceedingly well and I was like, wow, I kind of want to see where this goes, maybe I wouldn't drink. But even by hole 13 in that scenario, I'd be like, it'd be good right now, a beer, because I'm outside.
Yeah,
Yeah,
I'm doing
a
something
bottle of
leisurely.
water
Yeah.
is just as good.
But bottled water is not just as good, by the way.
Sure, it is. A bottle of water or a Gatorade or a Coca-Cola is just as good.
Oh, did you ever go to a party in high school where there was no booze? This came up with Tim the other day, as he referred to that there were parties in high school, then there were alcohol parties in high school, and it was
I never got it. I never went to the alcohol.
I'll
parties. I
say
went-
this.
But my whole thing was that there were no such thing as alcohol parties. There were just parties.
My high school was very strange in the sense that,
You were in attendance.
well, sure. No, but we had a very heavy, like,
He's cracking himself up.
yeah, I know. We had a very heavy, like, East Indian, and Korean and Asian American presence in our school.
Well, Asian Canadian.
Asian Canadian, I guess, in this sense.
So
There weren't a lot of, like,
so people from cultures where drinking's not a big thing.
yeah, and where parental supervision is a lot more tight.
Okay.
So we didn't have a lot of like so-and-so's parents are away this weekend kind of opportunities. Also, everyone lived in a townhouse, so it's not like anyone had a huge backyard. Like we're talking about Scarborough here.
So what'd you do at parties in high school?
I'd say we didn't really have many parties until graduation year when everyone, then yeah, there was no party that didn't have alcohol. But there weren't a lot of hey, everyone's going to so-and-so's house on a Saturday.
That was
kind
my
of things.
experience too. That going to high school, there were very few like people saying, "Oh, let's get together and have a party." Like it happened on occasion, but parties just weren't a thing in our day.
But I want to hear about these. So you guys would just hang out in somebody's basement and what? Eat
Yeah, we could
Cheetos
watch
and watch the
TV.
news?
Like we watch TV or a movie or like chat or hang out or whatever. Like
Well,
we would drink.
what to you defines a party? Because I would hang out with like 7 or 8 friends, and still usually we were drinking. But there were occasions where we were just hanging out watching a movie or something. But that's not a party.
I guess that's what I would. I guess I wouldn't constitute really as a party then. Just hanging out. Like I guess I called it that because we went to somebody's house, like if somebody was away or whatever. Like somebody's parents were away, but there was no drinking. Like we were underage. Well, why would we be drinking?
I would say if you're
You're-
not inviting anyone outside of your immediate group of friends, that is not a party. That is just hanging out.
That's a
Potentially.
fair, interesting.
But even then.
I guess it depends how big your.
I guess it
group of
depends.
friends
I
is.
mean, I feel like
Well,
Paul
we
and
know
I
that
had a very similar
alcohol
experience,
parties
but
and
we
the
both
dope
grew up in
parties
like subdivisions kind of. Paul, you grew up
Yeah.
in a subdivision, right?
We went down to the train tracks, drank, and
Train tracks and drank, yeah.
Yeah, we didn't. Yeah, that's the thing. We didn't really
I
have.
used
We
to
didn't
do
have
shit
fields.
like that all the time.
I would have killed
Oh,
for a
field parties?
field.
You start
Yeah.
a big bonfire and everyone just
Yeah.
gets wasted?
Didn't
Yeah.
have fields.
That's what
Yeah, I mean,
We
I-
also very early on when I was in 5th grade, we were one of 5 feeder schools that went to the same high school, and somebody brought a golf club to the high school during a dance and
Cool.
like kicked the shit out of a couple people.
Oh, so it wasn't like I'm Tiger Woods.
No. Well, maybe. So I remember being in 5th grade and hearing that dances at the high school I was going to go to had been banned
Banned
forever.
for life.
So we never had like the social functions at a school that could lead to like, hey, we're all going here after this thing to go drink. We didn't have those.
So we used to have a party before like high school dances.
Yeah,
until
see-
we just stopped going completely.
Yeah, but
stayed wherever we were. and
There
kept
were
drinking.
never functions at my high school that would like lead to that kind of thing. It was a
Okay.
very strange high school.
So everyone just smoking weed the entire time.
Not even that much weed. There were the burnout white kids in the tech hallway.
In the
But,
tech hallway.
That was where the auto shop was.
Oh,
But
auto shop. Yeah.
it's a weird school.
Way different high school.
Weird school.
Which is
So my experience is relatively similar to Gary and said. Like, I'm sure there were these
Tim,
alcohol.
Tim went to a
dope
school
parties
where
and
there
all.
was like a massive drug epidemic and they had lockdowns.
We had 2 lockdowns.
See, we never had a lockdown.
Yeah. One time a kid spray painted his paintball gun black, and everyone thought it was a.
Anyway,
really?
it wasn't until about college that I started, seeing and going to parties where people drank, and I think that's actually a very common experience.
Oh, I don't know. About
I think
that.
I think I think the more like in a city you grow up, it might just be less and less due to opportunity. But that's just my own personal experience.
Well, from the people that I know that like grew up in like Toronto proper, and even like where we're from in Halifax, like in the actual city, not the suburbs, bigger drug problems.
I can see
not
that.
real big drinkers,
I can see
real
that.
into drugs.
Yeah.
So that's how you kind of get around it. You know, you have like a 12-pack with you or a 6-pack that you're bringing everywhere. Just you start smoking some joints. That's a gateway drug, Garion.
Sure, you
Then
don't
you get
have
into the
to
harder
haul
stuff.
things around.
Yeah, you can just put that in your pocket, and move on your way. One more thing. We got time for one more thing, Tim.
Okay. Well, I will talk about this because it was outraging me during the NCAA tournament, which was orange vanilla Coke. Where do I begin? First, there's this whole like nonsense lie they were telling during the broadcast that it was their first new Coke flavor in 12 years. And we all know that isn't true.
But it is the
If
new.
you-
It is the new. When was the last time they had a new
How
Coke
is
flavor?
that? Yeah, but there's
There's the
those
they
Coke
brought
machines. They have like so many flavors.
well this is
They're all those
exactly-
old, though?
They're all Diet Coke.
They have been pushing for the all these different flavored
I guess
Cokes.
that's true.
No, they've
Coke-
been pushing Diet Cokes.
No, well, the Diet Cokes actually come bottled in these flavors. But on all those Coke machines, you've got blueberry Coke and peach Coke and raspberry
No,
Coke.
I think Pat's right. I think you
I
can
think
only
those are
get
all
those in
diet
diet
flavor.
flavors. Yeah, I think the
No,
only,
no, you can get them in regular or diet. You can get regular raspberry Coke. Like 2 summers ago, they had it out. Like, don't tell me that orange vanilla Coke is like the first one they've had in years.
Okay.
Secondly, nobody wants this. Nobody wants a creamsicle in the middle of their Coke. That sounds terrible. Like, who thought this was a good idea to market it? Like, it all goes back to I don't know what Coca-Cola is doing. The fans
Making a
want
lot of
regular-
money?
Yeah, profits are up. Stock is up ever since they released those new Diet Coke flavors that you
Nobody
hate so
wants
much.
those
When you
at
say
all.
when you say nobody, who are
Lime
you talking
Coke,
I
about?
they
also like
have
the
to market it was like-
who thinks that this is a good idea, as if Coke doesn't have one of probably the 3 biggest marketing teams in the entire world
and also made one of the biggest, probably the biggest marketing mistake of all
and
time.
rebounded from it beautifully by just
It took
undoing
them
the
a
mistake.
long time to rebound from it. It took them a lot of work and a lot of effort to rebound.
So-
Well, we're still talking about Coke. I think they did okay.
Let me ask you. So is Coke a good company or a bad company?
They make a great product, but sometimes I think they overthink what they've got. They have the world's best soft drink, and they feel like they need to monkey around with it all the time.
Well, why don't you put your
Because-
money where your mouth is and ban yourself, go on a Coke boycott for a year and only drink Pepsi?
I would not do that. That Pepsi is.
Well, I feel like you don't
trash.
really care then.
Yeah, he doesn't really care. It's just something for
I'm
you to
just
be
saying. I
triggered
wish
about.
that they would stop playing around. with
Stock
that.
is up. Everyone loves these Diet Coke flavors. They've even introduced even more of them because, I mean, people aren't smart. They know they should live healthier, but they're not too smart about it. So they're like, the healthy choice I'm gonna make? I'll drink Diet Coke. It's healthy for me. That's something like Tim would think. And
Well,
they're
it is
like,
healthier.
Not for your brain.
it's also not healthy.
Yeah,
Sure.
that's true.
And something isn't like, if one thing is horrible for you and the other thing is just merely bad for you, branding it as healthier is something Coke does. And if you're talking about in terms
Again,
of actual health,
fantastic marketing team.
sure, it's working on Tim already. It is healthier. It's not healthier.
First, it's called diet.
It's bad.
Secondly, it has no calories and no sugar.
To quote Mr. Donald Trump, I've never seen a skinny person drink a Diet Coke.
The man gets some things right.
He nailed that one.
Yep.
Like, it just drink water. Like Tim said, drink some water.
Yeah.
You just want to
No,
go to a
water
golf
is
course
great.
and drink a beer. You know what? Don't want to drink a beer at a golf course. You know it's the same as Coke water. It's a lot, and that is healthy for you. It hydrates you. It doesn't dehydrate you. It's not adding in extra sugars or aspartame. Tim's like, oh, it's sugar-free. It's full of aspartame.
Mhm.
Great. Fantastic.
But it's sugar-free and calorie-free.
They have to replace
It
that
tastes
with
good.
something, Tim. Or else it's just dye.
Yeah.
But the point
Syrup
is,
and dye.
the fans of the product like it the way it is and don't need all these
Well, then
bells
you
and
can
whistles.
still
and things
buy
like-
regular
Yeah, you can
Coke.
still
It's
just
not like-
drink the Coke.
It's not like they're eliminating original Coke to give you orange vanilla Coke.
But I
now,
just
do you
I
do
think
you
the
not
most
like
damaging
cherry
way-
Coke or vanilla Coke?
no, I don't. I never did.
I say I'm not a fan either. I can enjoy a nice can of Coca-Cola every now and then.
Yeah.
I enjoy it.
Every
But-
once
but-
and again.
But I'm not like stressing my days out because they released another kind of Coke. What am I gonna? Who would want this? I don't want this. No one wants
How
it.
much-
It's an outrage.
How much
It
Coke
makes
do you
me
drink in a
feel
week,
like
Tim?
makes me feel like as a fan that what I'm drinking isn't good
You
enough.
can't be a
because
fan of
they
a
have-
soft
Oh
drink.
no, that's not true. Cust is one of those weirdos. Like you might as well just be like Japanese or something like this. But he has a whole bunch of like Coke memorabilia. What a weirdo!
I have a
obsession.
friend whose dad
I
is
have
like
a
that.
can
He
of
collects
Coke
Coke
from the
memorabilia.
1992 Toronto Blue Jays winning the World
I
Series
actually have that
in
too.
mint condition inside a Ziploc bag
In-
that hasn't left that bag since they won that World Series and got that can. And one
Why
day
is it
that
in
is
a
going to be worth a mint.
Ziploc?
Yeah. Also, we looked up the prices of the stuff that he has. It's worth like an additional 10 cents. It's worth the deposit of the can.
Yeah, see, here's the problem with, because I feel like Tim maybe grew up with the same sensibility as like my dad instilled in me at the same time, but the past generation had just gotten off of like everything that theirs as a child suddenly became super valuable, but then their generation completely mass produced it all. Like my dad used to buy me baseball cards. I'm like, hey, keep these in good condition, hang on to them.
Not worth shit.
Not knowing that from 1987 to 1994, every single card ever produced was, there's millions of them out there. Nothing's worth anything. Oh, hang on to those McDonald's toys. They'll be worth something. No, they won't. What are you
I
talking
have
about?
the entire first edition of Pog. I still have
I
it.
think
With the
that's worth
slammers?
something.
Not worth shit.
I have like
Are you telling
crazy
me
bones.
I have been keeping this glass from McDonald's, this glass mug from Batman Returns, in like perfect shape since it came out, thinking that one day it would be worth something. You telling me that's not going to be valuable?
Yes, I'm telling you that's absolutely worthless.
Oh, I don't agree. I think in
You'd be better smashing the glass and then stabbing yourself with it.
no,
That would be more valuable.
that's foolish.
What do you think the stuff's going to be worth? Like
I don't know. It's one of those things that, like,
at its peak, let's say everything just works out how you think it's going to work out. Your McDonald's Batman Returns glass that you've had since 1991. What's the peak that you think you'll sell this for?
I have always had a dream of going on.
Can you
Antique
please
Roadshow
tell me what you think it would sell
and
for?
doing an Antique Roadshow and bringing in one of my goods and having the appraiser say, "Well, you would be surprised just how valuable this is," and then giving me like some huge number and it like being a big
So
deal.
what? So what's the number? Quit dodging the question. What do you think that will sell for?
I don't know. I think in like 40, 50 years, that could be worth a couple $1,000.
I mean, that's not the craziest thing he could have said, but I still think it's pretty crazy.
If that was ever worth more than $100, I'd be stunned.
See, that's
And
the
now,
thing,
and now
too.
you've just had this fucking glass
Yeah.
at your house for 50 years, like a lunatic.
Get $100. Yeah. Well, I think like when I
If
had,
you would just use the $1 that it cost and put it in the stock market in 1991, it would be worth more.
yeah. But when I had to move out of my mom's place, she was also moving out. So I had to get rid of tons of my stuff. And then I was living with our mutual friend Eric. For a long time. When I had to move out of that place, which had a bunch of storage because it was kind of like midtown, not downtown.
Mhm.
Moved in with my girlfriend. Had to get rid of even more of the stuff that I'd had to get rid of the first time. I don't have a ton of stuff anymore.
Yeah, all my
And-
stuff's on like the walls behind us.
and-
It's all the stuff that I've
Yeah.
through 17 moves. That's just what I've kept at this point.
Eric and our furniture was Pat's furniture for a very long time because you were just like,
I can't use this
Yeah.
furniture anymore.
And
What am I
that's
gonna
the
do with this
thing.
chair?
You start realizing very quickly when you have to make decisions about what you're keeping, really how much those McDonald's collectibles are sitting in your mind. So
I
yeah.
could never part with those.
You're never gonna be on Antiques Roadshow. You're
That's
gonna be
the-
on fucking Hoarders.
Someone is gonna offer him $5,000 for this glass, but he'll be too emotionally attached to it to give it away.
It would be hard to get rid of it.
Do you like use it to drink out of?
Okay.
Oh heavens, no!
Can't
I want it. I want it in pristine condition.
For what?
For when he doesn't sell
For when
it.
you don't sell it? For
I
nothing?
just, I don't. I want it in perfect condition.
Why though?
Well, if I ever did sell it, or
But
like
you're basically just talking about how you're not going to sell it.
or it could be an inheritance for somebody, or
This is what's going to happen. You're going to die from drinking 8 Coke a day, and all of a sudden I'm going to be left a Batman Returns glass? That's what you're going to bequeath to me?
I'm not Cam. Like Cam used to tell us he used to get up in the middle of the night just to open
Well,
up the can.
yeah,
of Coke so
Yeah,
he could-
which gets back to my point. How many Cokes would you say you drink in a week?
Oh, in a week? Oh, 1 or 2.
Okay.
Oh, so then what do you even care about Coke?
Because I love it and I have a deep
But the-
affinity for it, and I don't like.
You
and
know,
when they
you know,
are
you know what?
advertised
It doesn't
all
sound
these
like you
flavors-
like it very much. You know who used to drink 8 cans of Coke a day at the office? Cam Stewart. He would
Yeah,
even
we
drink.
could-
He would even drink other people's cans of Coke if they had walked away from their desk. He'd
He
just go
wasn't-
over, take it, and drink it.
He wasn't brand specific though. I remember he would buy
No,
he would buy the little
preferred-
Pepsis
He
too.
preferred Coke, but if Pepsi was on
Yeah.
sale, he'd get Pepsi.
Because he had the
Or-
little cans. He knew the exact amount of time you could leave them in the freezer, so they get a nice pop.
Or if I had a large coffee and I had half drank my coffee and walked away from my desk to use the bathroom, I'd come back and Cam had drank the rest.
Yeah. Actually, Dagan. Shouts to Dagan, who is still the cameraman, I believe, for Tim and Sid.
Daggers.
I remember Daggers gave me a ride one day back when we were doing the tennis tournament, which is way up in York. And
I'm no longer allowed there.
Is that the
Rogers
tournament
Cup?
with badass Serena Williams? What happens if it's windy?
yeah, that is the one.
That's the one.
So actually, that's where I met Pat, I think. But he was telling me about how he and his wife collect like the Coke points and how many Coke points they had, and it was boggling my like. It's like, yeah, we probably go through like 4 or 5 2-liters a day.
That's so much
And
Coke.
Dagan, it's weird. He doesn't look like the greatest athlete you'd ever met.
He's an amazing athlete.
He's an
I
amazing
believe he's in the
athlete.
Ontario Hall of Fame for athletics.
Yeah.
Sometimes when you're just a great athlete, you have good genes.
Yeah.
Tim's
But,
not in any
no.
athletic Hall of Fame
No.
here.
But I remember
I
that
am
that
not.
shocked me a little bit.
Yeah. Guy was like 40 and the fastest
The
man on earth.
fastest guy I think I've ever met.
Yeah, great.
And I
Great.
think you mean my Coke rewards. I believe that's what they called them.
Do you even collect those with all this Coke you're drinking?
No, not anymore. I don't think they even still exist anymore.
Poor Paul is just falling asleep behind the board here. We're losing him talking about this Coke stuff.
That's fair.
Do I have
Well,
anything else?
That's what I was passionate about.
I was watching an episode of Frasier recently, and Martin, Frasier's dad, was freaking out because Frasier threw out his TV guide, and he said that's how he plans his week, around his TV guide. It just made me think of Tim.
Did that come
The
before
Tim-
or after the Seinfeld episode about that very thing?
Maybe I was watching. No, probably before.
No. Well, Jerry was sorry, not Jerry. Sorry, George's father's problem was that he had every single version of TV
Right.
guide
Okay.
back to like 1954 or something. And so by them taking that TV guide, it ruined his collection.
But the way that I was thinking about this with Tim is that Tim was kind of like a 75-year-old man in 1995.
Yeah.
See, that's like Tim's demographic.
Yeah, sure.
Oh, when I was young, the TV guide was great. I used to like get the TV guide, get out my
You
pen,
would still use it right now.
and I would circle the programs that I was going to watch.
So I got Tim hates patios and sunlight. Is there anything more pathetic than seeing people post about vacation countdowns on social media? Like how awful is your life?
Oh, what like
Jamaica in
9
57
oh,
days.
yes,
Like, yeah, your life sucks. We know.
I don't even like vacations that much to begin with,
That doesn't. No one is shocked by that.
Yeah.
take.
let alone other people's vacations.
I don't care that other people go on vacation. Just when you're giving me a countdown to the days when you're going on like a 3-star resort in Jamaica, like
I'm just
go on your
Well,
3-star resort. It sounds like fun, but like don't be the most excited
Yeah.
about it.
Show me a picture
Yeah,
when you're
let me
there.
clarify. Like, it's fine. You want to go on vacation? That's great. If you enjoy vacations, that's for you. Go ahead and have fun. But like, I'm not a big lover of vacations. And
Yeah,
I'm not a lover.
because you're
of people
going
like,
to a hot place to sit outside and drink. So we've got that
yeah,
covered.
I like use those a couple of times. I've been to those resorts down south, and I just prefer to stay in my room or like whatever.
You just got back from one. How fun is it to be out playing like beach volleyball and getting wasted?
It's great.
Getting a good burn on.
It's very fun.
Especially when it's like
No,
minus
I-
50 here. Tim, when was the last time you went down south? 15, 20 years ago?
2008 when I had that hat.
Oh, you're going down south hat.
Yes, when I had that
AKA
hat.
your
2000
drug kingpin hat. Maybe I'll throw
I want
that
to say
in here, too.
2008.
Simpler time.
So yeah, you'd have more fun 10 years later.
No, I don't think I would. Like, I don't like going places a lot. like leaving on travels. Like
It's
I
really
find like
the connecting
I'll-
fabric of this episode, I think.
I'll agree to like go on a trip somewhere, and like as sooner it approaches, I'm like, oh man, I gotta leave for a whole week, and it's
So
like,
you should do these social media countdowns, like how pissed you are about going on vacation in 41 days.
I just find the grid of my life is narrowing, and I'm pretty comfortable with that.
I don't know. All you need to do is get woke and start living a little, Tim. Start living a little.
Work on that for
I
next
do
time.
live my best. I do live my best life.
You live your truth.
You live your truth.
You live your truth. We know that. You do not live your best life.
I do.
You don't. Anyway, that will do it on this edition of Cuss Corner.
Cuss Corner, it's Cuss Corner. Cuss Corner, it's Cuss Corner. He's got the hottest takes with the highest stakes. He should be president of the United States, but it's Cuss Corner, it's Cuss Corner. Cuss Corner,
Again, people aren't really calling it that.
That's what I'm calling it. And I
It's
titled
not-
I titled the shows. In fact, this is Cuss Corner 19. Maybe we'll have to
It's
do
not
an
the best
all
episode.
viewer question episode for number 20. Although I'm trying to get
we were. You
20
should. because,
20
like, you
viewer
always get
questions
that-
for Cuss Corner 20?
that would be
Remember
like
there's supposed
a
to be
20-hour
Ask
show.
Tim-
Yeah.
Remember, there's supposed to be like an Ask Tim show or segment,
You mean Dear
Like,
you mean Dear Custy?
which never has materialized.
Well,
They don't even have the question.
I got like 30 questions, and like one of them were like along the lines of what I was looking for. The rest of them were like, who should I start this week?
Yeah. Well,
Well,
I
what
think
I-
you tried that
what
during
you should
football
do for
season,
the
though, didn't
next-
It just
Yeah.
people miss the point.
What we should do for the next corner, being the 20th anniversary, 20th corner, it should be a viewer request show. People should write in questions and quick hitters, if at all possible, and we should answer them. That would be fun.
It'd be fun.
For 19 episodes, I gave the people my thoughts
Here's why
on
Tim's joining the Athletic.
on popular culture and the like. Well, perhaps the fans have questions, and so I would be happy to field some questions for the 20th episode.
Maybe we'll get that out there. Maybe we'll make it the 21st episode. We'll see. But I do want to thank Garion for being on the show today. You can follow Garion on Twitter at Garion Thorne.
It's true.
You don't have cool intro music though.
I know. That's fine.
One that whenever it plays at a sporting event, people text you. It's the Tim Andercuss song. That
They don't just text me now; they tweet me en masse.
Oh, they tweet you en masse. So I would like to thank for being on the line, and remember to text or tweet him whenever you hear it. It is Tim Andercust.
Tim Andergust.
It's not my name.
But you love that you have a theme song. Don't lie.
No, I really don't need a theme song or want. I never asked for it. You told me to use Pam. I can't believe that you
gosh.
hang me out to dry like this.
I'm not hanging you out to dry. I told you to use Pam so stuff doesn't stick to the pan,
You
Tim.
said don't use butter anymore. Use Pam. It's for
Do you know why I told you not to use butter? Because you were cooking potatoes in the oven and you took out a stick of butter. In fact, it may have even been margarine at that point, and you just smeared it on the bottom of the pan.
Yes, I was doing that.
Yeah, and everything stuck to the bottom of it. I told you if you don't want stuff to stick, then all of a sudden you should just use some Pam, then it won't stick. And now
You
you're
said
using it to
don't
like
cook
use
with
it as
butter.
cooking oil.
So
I thought
so when
said,
you
don't cook with butter, cook with Pam, and I took that to
when
mean
you
should
put
cook-
the Pam
Well, just
on the
because you
steak,
can't decipher what things actually mean is not my fault. It makes you seem very insane.
did you never notice there was no flavor?
Cuss Corner,